New Zealand, a country blessed with an abundance of open spaces, mountains and coastlines, clean air and water. It is also the home of one of the world's largest and most sophisticated farmed deer populations. From its 3,500 farms, New Zealand exports high-grade venison products and quality deer velvet throughout the world. A key ingredient in Oriental medicine, deer velvet is recognised as an active agent in promoting individual health and well-being in a world challenged by busy life in the 21st century. Deer velvet, also known as velvet antler, can be defined as deer antlers during their phase of rapid growth. During its annual growth cycle, velvet antler can grow up to 2 centimetres a day before eventually hardening as it calcifies. This phenomenon has intrigued scientists about the cell regeneration properties of velvet and may explain why it has been so prized by medical professionals throughout the centuries. Velvet antler has been used extensively in Asia as an important Oriental medical ingredient for over 2,000 years. Traditionally, velvet antler is used to enhance the body's restoration of normal processes, its strengthening and its protection from disease. Today, the restorative benefits of velvet antler are claimed to include support for immune function, healthy joint function, blood health, blood pressure and cardiovascular health, cholesterol health, recovery after tissue damage, reducing the effects of aging, growth and mental development in children, and athletic performance. In recent years, the use of velvet antler products have become increasingly popular worldwide. New Zealand velvet antler is grown in one of the world's most pristine and natural farming environments. Deer are farmed outdoors on land that stretches from lush green pastures to rugged snow-capped peaks. New Zealand's relative isolation and efficient border controls have ensured a high standard of animal health and prevent the risk of the introduction of new diseases. New Zealand's farmed animals are free from many of the diseases that affect animals in other parts of the world. As a consequence, New Zealand velvet antler is of a recognised excellent quality, sought after by Asian medicine professionals and discerning consumers alike. Modern deer farming techniques were first pioneered in New Zealand in the early 1970s. Selective importation and advanced breeding and nutritional programs have rapidly improved the quantity and size of New Zealand deer. Today's national herd of well over 1.2 million animals includes some of the world's finest bloodlines. New Zealand farmed deer are fed on the purest vegetation, consisting of natural grass pastures, crops and herbs. And it is important to note that no artificial additives or growth hormones are ever used in New Zealand deer farming. New Zealand deer farmers are well informed and have the benefit of an excellent support structure of advisors and industry professionals. Deer Industry New Zealand was created to coordinate farming and the export of products and to promote and assist in the industry's development. Farmed in a free-range environment close to their natural state and with strict quality control programs and good farming practices, New Zealand stags produce some of the finest and highest quality velvet in the world. In New Zealand, extensive research into the best way to remove velvet has been carried out by industry and government departments. Regulatory agencies maintain industry standards in the handling of velvet in the food chain once it has been removed from the stags. At all times, the welfare of the stags is of paramount importance, and every means is used to ensure that they are handled in a manner that minimises any distress to the animal. Velvet antler is removed under strict regulatory conditions, the contravention of which can result in criminal prosecution. In New Zealand, the removal of velvet antler is a legally controlled surgical procedure and can only be carried out by veterinarians or specially trained and accredited farmers using specific and precise velvet removal techniques. During its removal, New Zealand velvet antler is given a unique identification tag to assist traceability and authenticity of source, and to demonstrate that removal was carried out in compliance with the requirements of the industry standards and according to best practices. Velvet Antler is sold by farmers to interested buyers. At velvet collection centres, it is inspected and graded under hygienic conditions and offered for sale, increasingly through contracts or private sales. The grading system, defined by industry-agreed grading guidelines in line with market requirements, encourages consistent quality of velvet. Furthermore, all inspection and grading facilities are licensed and monitored by New Zealand's Ministry of Agriculture and Forestry. After its initial grading, velvet antler must be processed to prepare it for human use. Great care is taken to preserve the natural purity and blood content of the velvet. There are two basic steps to velvet processing. First, the frozen velvet antler is placed in a steam oven for sterilisation and pasteurisation. The velvet is thawed and a strict temperature moisture control regime applied. The velvet antler is then removed to an electronically controlled dehydrator or dryer, where it remains for several weeks to remove additional moisture. Having already been regraded, only velvet of suitable quality is packaged and documented for export to ensure that this meets the overseas market access requirements. Certification and shipping documentation that the velvet has been processed in licensed and hygienically controlled facilities are provided by the Ministry of Agriculture and Forestry, and the product is then air freighted to its markets throughout the world. The New Zealand velvet industry builds on a tradition for quality product, consistently meeting customers' demand extending back many centuries, and is led by farming innovation, outstanding deer genetics and modern practices currently employed on New Zealand farms. Velvet antler is grown, collected and processed under the requirements of a strict quality assurance program subject to audit, and is genuine, reliable and of high quality, and produced with great pride for a discerning market. New Zealand velvet, it is naturally better. For more information about New Zealand velvet, please contact Deer Industry New Zealand.